All right, so we're going to look at this example from expressions involving absolute values. So these two lines here are absolute value lines. And what we are going to do first is they've given us a bunch of numbers to substitute. So if they say evaluate if, and they say, let's say, x equals 6 and y equals -3, that means that everywhere an x is, you're going to plug a 6 in with parentheses, and everywhere a y is, we're going to plug in -3 with parentheses. So let's do our first step of plugging all of that in. So we're going to have absolute value line, -2, 6 in parentheses, -3 plus 5, -3. Now, in a future example, I'm going to talk about the fact that, first off, could you plug all of this into a calculator? You could. And as long as you show me the substitution step, I would give you full credit. But let me show you how we would do this the long way, okay? So first things first, this is PEMDAS. And there is a trick to this that I'm going to talk about a little later in another example. But technically, absolute value lines count as the P step. They are parentheses. They are a grouping. But because there is nothing outside of the absolute value, I am not going to worry about this step in particular. I don't see any exponents, but there is multiplication and division. So let's pick a color. Let's do green. All right, so we've got all of this together and all of this together. So step 2, we're going to do -2 times 6 times -3 is 36. You plug that in the calculator. And 5 times -3 is -15. That was all the multiplication and division. So my next step is going to be all of the addition and subtraction. Which is right here. So 36 minus 15 is 21. Now, with any absolute value problem, you will always have, I can get the color I want, thank you. You will always have a step involving the absolute value. It kind of happens around the parentheses step. And that is, you can plug this into your calculator, but let's also have a conversation. All the absolute value sign does, as long as there's nothing on the outside of the absolute value, it says no matter what, I'm positive. Like this itself from line to line, I don't care if it's a positive number, I don't care if it's a negative number, I'm positive. Now, that doesn't mean it changes the sign. I always see people think that it changes the sign, a negative becomes positive, a positive becomes negative. No. It just takes the value of the number and spits it out, and it's always positive. That changes if there's a negative sign in front, and we'll see a problem like that. But my final answer here is 21.